don't think, who wants to read what I've got to write? Share your wisdom. Who are you to keep it to yourself?
Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day's a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightman. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as the Going North podcast, we got another super special, awesome human for you today. My goodness. Got to thank my good buddy, the best meow on earth, known as Catherine Sickly Stevens, for hooking me up with this super special, awesome lady right here. My goodness, just to name a couple things that she does. She's a woman's health strategist that specializes in working with businesses and organizations who are committed to supporting women colleagues at menopause, as well as an international public speaker who's spoken at conferences worldwide and in workshops in places like not only here in the US of A, but also India, Denmark, Iceland, and Spain. And she's also a prolific author, and she's won a boatload of awards, just to name a couple. A 2017 ALL and WEF Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All. 2018 WEF Exceptional Woman of Excellence. You heard that right, folks. She's excellent, baby. And a 2020 Evolutionary Business Council Bronze Membership Award. And her aim in life is to inspire women to live their best lives regardless of their age. So let's give it up for the fabulous PD herself. And I'm not talking about police department. I'm talking about Pat Duckworth. How you doing today, Pat?
I'm doing good, Dom. It's so good to be here with you.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It's good with 17 O's. It's good.
Good.
Yes, indeed. It's good indeed. So, my goodness, I'm pretty sure you know, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 98 days long with an extra 3 hours. So, mind filling in any cavities I may have missed about you, Pat?
Wow. I know your peeps are all really interested in book writing, so I'm up to 5 books now that I've written and 6 that I've co-written. And I know this sounds weird, but I've contributed to a lot of books as well. When you start writing books, other people approach you and say, could you do a chapter for my book? So I can't remember how many, but I've probably contributed to about 10 books now.
A whole decade.
And I have a son called Dom, who's about the same age as you, as we have talked about.
That's right. That's right, folks. That's right. I'm her chocolate son, number 2. I'm her chocolate Dom.
I think you guys would get along.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's right. How could I also forget superstar mom and fabulous wife, too?
Absolutely. 43 years I've been married. And at this point, you gasp, okay, and say, did you marry as a child or something like that? Okay.
Well, hey, that's one heck of a feat. 43 years of marriage, and even after COVID, too. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
Locked down for a year, we're still together.
There you go. That's right. That's right indeed. Sustainable, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's sustainable success, that good marriage indeed. So, my goodness. So, any tips for the youth out there or those who may be, they may have survived COVID and they may be looking to be like, okay, maybe I'm going to try to not do the single thing. I might look up for that special soul. What's the keys to a successful marriage since you've been together with the same person for 43 years, even after COVID?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same stuff as during COVID. Is like making space for each other, because over 43 years, we're not the same people who first met. And that's fine. It's not that, oh, I wish you were still that young person. No, you keep growing and developing and doing new stuff. So my biggest tip for a long and happy relationship is making space for each other, making sure there's room to keep growing and developing, not trying to keep somebody as they were, just like really celebrating who they're becoming.
Ah, celebrate who they are becoming. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's a one-liner right there. There we go. That's something for the relationship books right there. That's right. Celebrate who they are becoming because we are all human becomings. That's right. That's right, indeed. I mean, we can be, but you usually tend to grow like yourself because you weren't always the wonderful lady helping folks really tap into getting help for those times when they get into that stage of extra warmth, for the lack of a better word.
Power surges.
That's probably even a better way to describe
Women who have power surges.
it. That's right, because if I'm not mistaken, you were actually and still are a hypnotherapist to this day on top of that, right?
Yeah, it's one of the healing therapeutic modalities that I use. And I have to remember when I'm doing podcasts and things to use a different tone of voice because I don't want you falling asleep. Oh, he's gone.
No. I mean, hey, I'm all for it. Had a guest on the show a few weeks ago. She has that same like sexy, smooth, soothing voice where it's like if you're not careful, you'll just pass out. It was funny too because it was even before I pressed the record button. I was like, hey, like I love your content. I've been checking you out ever since your podcast company pitched you to me. It's like you do some amazing work. And I'm like, you have like one of the best voices ever. And she was like, oh god, I don't think you're gonna make it during this interview.
I was in a radio studio a few years back, and it was evening, and it was a BBC radio studio, so it had all the equipment, and it had all the monitors, and up on the wall there's the traffic report, and there's a weather report somewhere else, and the presenter's kind of watching all this stuff, and it's 9 o'clock in the evening, and she's talking to me about getting better sleep. And I said, oh, well, there's this technique that you can use. And at this point, she's off air. I don't know, the weather report's running. And she said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, you have that voice in your head that goes, you're never going to sleep. Never, 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 never. I said, well, you just slow it down and you go, you're never going to sleep. Never, never, never going to sleep. And I saw her eyes start to go, and she's had to shake herself awake. So I won't do that, obviously.
Yeah, because some folks drive when they listen to this show. Don't crash into nothing. Like we're back to we're back to a semblance of normal, or at least a closer semblance of normal, which means more traffic on the tool of the devil known as the expressways out here. So there's gonna be more people around you. We don't want that stupid to happen. Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of hypnotherapy and basically giving your wonderful life partner space to grow and just to become themselves, what do you believe may be next on this wonderful journey of yours? Because you've done so much in this wonderful life of yours, and there's still more to do.
I know, and I'm so excited because I don't know well, I do know a little bit of what's next. So I had my first vaccine 2 months ago. So you might be thinking, where is this leading? But I came home from that vaccine and I felt really tired that night, went to bed, went to sleep, woke up about 2 hours later with my next book downloading itself in my head. I didn't think I was writing another book, but it was the weirdest thing. It was like hearing my next book being read to me. How weird is that?
Ah, that's right. I mean, it's not weird to me because I've talked to a lot of folks, and some of them heck, even a couple of them say they've had this channel text to written to them, or channel to them. They just started writing on the pages. But like to others who may be listening, like, oh God, like really? Like you had it downloaded to you. So you're telling me if you get the vaccine, you become a new author? It's like I'm anti-vaccine, but you know what? I might get the vaccine just so I can become an
Well, I'd heard these stories as well because I have a lot of very spiritually minded friends. And when they've said to me, oh, my book was downloaded to me, or, it just came to me, and I thought, seriously, I have to work hard at my books. I want one of those books. And so this was so weird when I could just hear it. So that is the next thing. I woke up the next morning feeling a little bit unwell. And so I got my iPad out and switched on voice memo and started dictating this book because I thought, I don't want to lose it. So yeah, it's about halfway written.
Ah, there we go. That's right. So any secret tips on what to expect from the book? And gonna drop us maybe one sugar cube of what to expect?
Well, unsurprisingly, given my history, it's another menopause book. I thought I'd done all the menopause books, but this one is actually a novel, and I've never written a novel.
Ooh,
So this
yay.
is like menopause in the city.
Okay, all right. Well, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So how's that switch been going from nonfiction and just article writing to novel writing? Because it's a totally different ball game.
It is, and it's tricky because, it's not my background. I mean, I never thought I would write a book until I kind of made the real change in my career 11 years ago. From being in public service, where what I mostly wrote was memos and letters to people. So writing was really new to me when I started. And then I would have thought, oh no, I can't write a novel. That's making stuff up, and I'm not very good at that. But this one, yeah, I'm having to plot it out a lot more because when I write nonfiction, I tend to mind map it
Ah,
and think about what the subjects I want to cover, and then within each chapter, what I want to cover in that chapter. So, I've really got it pictured in my head. Whereas with this one, I'm having to kind of plot a timeline, and that is really different for me. And even thinking about which tense I'm writing in,
mm-hmm.
because it starts out written in the present tense because I want to engage people into it. But it's really difficult to keep writing in the present tense. I think I'm going to have to read some more novels to kind of feel my way in. But as I say, it's half written. It's comical as well. It's very funny.
Ah, yes. It's like, I gotta find an igloo. I gotta find like 20 snowballs. Oh my gosh. Like, where's the giant, like, obelisk made out of dry ice or something?
It's just, and some of the ideas are really funny, and then you think, am I allowed to do that? Can I do this? Can I do that? So there may be one version that is for my friends and another version that I publish.
I mean, hey, you might be surprised because a lot of folks are becoming a lot more open to ideas now, especially in the realm of creativity. And thanks to the pandemic, a lot of folks really do some inner reflection and realize, oh, maybe I need to make some life changes. So you never know. Some of those things that might be crazy to you, the world might be ready to accept it.
Yeah, yeah. So certainly the novel starts pre-pandemic. I'm just trying to decide where it finishes.
It
I'm
can
putting
still
my
fit.
I'm putting my characters through some grief, because there's four women friends going through menopause. So they're going through some grief here.
Oh, God. It's like World War VIII, huh?
It's a lot of heat.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of menopause, if I'm not mistaken, you help companies to help those women going through that stage because it's definitely a rough stage to go through. So, any top three tips you want to recommend? Heck, even with not even just companies, just for regular employees that may be working with those maybe wonderful ladies going through that time right now.
Yes. And it's remembering that this isn't just something that happens to women in their 50s. They could start experiencing symptoms in their 40s, for some women earlier than that. And women who are going through hysterectomies for different reasons, and women who are having treatment for cancer. There's a whole load of reasons why you can get into this. So it's thinking of it not just as a problem for women over 50. And I think when organizations embrace that, they'll see that women are on this hormonal journey in the workplace, and a little bit of support can make so much difference. So certainly for women who are entering into that experience, being able to talk about it. You might be surprised, Dom, but women don't talk about this stuff. It's kind of a bit embarrassing. It's about getting older. And so a lot of women don't even talk about it with their friends. It's like, and they don't talk about it with their mums or their sisters. It's like this crazily dirty secret that's not a secret because everybody knows it happens, and it happens to all women. So it's a bit bonkers, really. So it's being able to talk about it, and in the workplace, if there's any sort of women's support group, is raising it as a subject. And you'd be surprised once you start talking about it, how the floodgates open of women going, oh, thank heavens we're talking about it. Let's just engage with this. So, and then perhaps finding somebody in the workplace who can be an advocate, somebody at a senior level who will take this subject seriously so that it can be raised on agendas rather than, I don't think we want to talk about this. I love the people, the men and the women at senior levels who go, yeah, we need to be talking about this. It's a thing and we need to be talking about it. And the other thing I would say to women is, this is only a transition. It's like when you were a teenager, all that, for some women, they go through puberty and they get a couple of spots and that's it, and they're fine. Other women, it's like years of, mood swings and torment. And it's just the same at menopause. Some women sail through and other women have a really difficult time. But it is only a transition, and I am on the other side of it. And I'm here to say it looks pretty good on the other side. So I just want to encourage you to know that there is another side, and it's like the reset button has been pushed and you get some of your energy back, or a lot of energy back. I mean, I've done so much since I went through menopause. I've probably been more productive than I was beforehand. So, and there's more focus on what you want to do, and a lot of women get involved in new careers or becoming entrepreneurs or taking up causes, supporting charities. So there's a lot of good the other side of it. So embrace it, get to the other side. There's a whole bunch of us the other side just waiting to welcome you into this sisterhood.
There you go. That's right. If you get through it, you'll be better for it. That's right. That's right. It's like a valley to the mountaintop. It's like you'll be fine. Yeah, that's right. Just make sure you have a lot of cooling material while you're in that valley, right?
Yeah, you might need a little fan or something, or some cool drinks. Layers of clothes that you can take off, put on, take off, put on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All the magical layers, that's right. All the layers. Yes, indeed. Maybe not as much during, in the dead heat of summer, but.
Some women in the workplace, they can end up going, oh, this is too much hard work. I can't cope with this and my career. Yes, you can. You can do it, because if you give up on your career, when you get to that stage where you want to stop working, you won't have enough money because you haven't made it when you could make it. So there is a financial implication to it. Don't just think of this as, oh, it's just too much for my health. Think about your long term, You want to have enough money to retire at the end of it.
Heck yeah. Definitely can say that again. Definitely can say that again. Because even with entrepreneurship looking romantic right now, and everybody's want to do it, and heck, even a lot of people being forced to do it. Like, a lot of folks may not even plan long term, so it's best to really keep that in mind. It's like, hey, work as hard as you can now and take care of the lioness that's going to be coming ahead.
Yeah. Listen to that roar.
That's right. Just picture all the Katy Perry songs in your head.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because there aren't many mammals that go through menopause, okay? One of the other only two mammals that go through menopause, killer whales, okay?
Oh.
Channel your inner killer whale.
All right, that's going to be a social media post.
I'm giving you some good one-liners here.
That's right, channel your inner killer whale. Like,
Yeah.
what? It's like, what does that mean? Just check out that episode on the Going North podcast with Pat Duckworth. You'll find out. The ladies will definitely find out. Oh, man. Well, in addition to helping out companies and helping out the ladies realize that, hey, this transition period can be better than you think it is, even though it may not feel like it, is the fact that you also do Tai Chi to keep yourself healthy and young.
I do. I started doing Tai Chi when I was in my late 20s. And I went to classes for a few years. And then when I was pregnant with my own little Dom, my white chocolate Dom, I had to stop doing it because I had to travel into London. I live outside of London and it was all too much. But somebody videoed me doing Tai Chi. And what's really great is a few years ago, I found that video. It was on a videotape. Do you remember? No, you're too young.
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I used to watch movies with my brother with them. Yeah.
Blockbusters, yay. Anyway, a friend took this videotape and had it put on a DVD for me. And my younger self has taught my older self how to do Tai Chi again.
Ooh.
Because I'd
Wow.
forgotten some of the moves, because there's a lot of moves. And it's so amazing that my 30-year-old self has taught me now how to do it again. So I'm so grateful to have that film that I could go back to and watch the moves. I'm not sure I could have done it without my younger self. My younger self rocked.
Don't worry, the current Pat rocks too. That's right. She rocks like a boulder.
Coming down ahead at you. So yeah, I during lockdown I started doing Tai Chi every morning. If I can, I do it in the garden. We haven't talked about the weather, Us in the UK here, we love talking about the weather. It's one of our favorites. So if it's not raining in the morning or not really super cold, I like going out into the garden to do my Tai Chi and like commune with the garden and notice the seasons and everything. If it's raining, I just have to go in my living room. But being out in the garden doing it is great. I love it.
You can say that again. Talk about planting a tree decades ago, as that old Chinese proverb says. Like I never thought, I was like, hey, I'm teaching myself here, except it's the younger me.
Yeah. Because she didn't know she was going to do that, she's not shouting at me either.
Oh man, that's got to be kind of trippy at first. It's like, oh wow, like wow, all right. It's like home movies, except my own instructional DVD where it's me as the instructor from like 10 years ago.
I know. Well, yeah, it's a little bit longer, but anyway.
Okay, 17, fine.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm just so glad I had that DVD because there's all different forms of Tai Chi, and although I found other Tai Chi teachers, they didn't teach the same form, and I think the one that you learn initially is the one you kind of fall in love with. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's really good to have it. My son brought up his virtual reality thing the other weekend, and he had a Tai Chi app on it. I was so rubbish at that Tai Chi. I think he thought I was going to be really expert at it, but there's a very different skill to using those controllers and keeping them in the circles. And yeah, do the real thing.
Yeah, it is true. It really is heck. Even like I remember even a few years ago with when I was doing Taekwondo that my instructor he actually left the school because he wanted to start his own CrossFit box, and our first instructor was hired back. And I was like, okay, I know this guy, he's cool. But he has a totally different teaching style, and he had some additional moves and ways of doing things that didn't align with the way I was learning for like the past, I guess, 5 years up to that point. And it was at that point where I was like, all right, it's still the same under the Taekwondo umbrella, but it just doesn't feel the same. So I ended up following my old instructor to his new CrossFit box, ended up picking up CrossFit on top of Taekwondo because it's like you're so right. Like you learn certain things a certain way for so long, and it you can always learn new things, but it's gonna be rubbish in that transitional phase.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend women at menopause to do Tai Chi because it's so meditative and at the same time it's good exercise, but it's finding the right teacher because I was taught Tai Chi as the martial art, a very slow motion martial art, but a martial art. So every movement had meaning, whereas sometimes it's almost taught like a dance routine or a meditation in its own right rather than this kind of holistic, every movement meaning something and at the same time being meditative and giving you good exercise. So you have to find the thing that suits you.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
I'm not writing the Tai Chi book, okay?
It's okay. I'm sure there'll be Tai Chi mentioned in the novel, maybe.
Hmm. There might be now.
Ah, yeah, that's right. There'll be a time where the main character's trying to teach her other three friends how to do Tai Chi or something like that. Then it goes horribly wrong because you see a kitten and they want to pet it out as a distraction or something, maybe.
If I use it, I'll credit you in the book. The fun thing is that with their approval, I have given all the characters names of my friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you might make an appearance, who knows?
Oh, okay. There we go. Alrighty. Um, if it actually happens, it might be the second book I appear in, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess like, hey, I need to put you in my next book, Dom. So what color you want to be? I'm like, hey, your book, it knows bad. It's like, oh, let's stay historically accurate. Let's make you a black guy in this Western novel. I'm like, oh yeah, sweet. I still need to get around to reading it though, if he put it out. Oh, but yeah. Well, speaking of wonderful creativity and wonderful books that you're writing and being on these podcasts and speaking all over the wonderful blue earth, is there a question you wish you'd be asked more often when you're in interviewee mode?
I suppose it's that one, what started you writing books? Because once you become an author, you tend to get to know a lot of people who write books. But back when I started, I hardly knew anybody who wrote books. And it seems a really big leap between never writing anything and like stepping in and getting your first book out there. And there is an interesting story. Well, I think it's interesting. Okay, do you want to hear my story?
Of course I do.
So when I was training to be a hypnotherapist, on the last day of the hypnotherapy course, we got taken through an exercise that was called walking through your neurological levels. Okay, so that's kind of getting into the deeper parts of the brain. And when you get through it, halfway through, you get to this point where you understand your purpose. And when I got to that bit, I saw this really wonderful room. It was, it had huge windows overlooking the sea. It was all kind of white and minimalist. For some reason, there was a white, glossy baby grand piano in the corner of the room. I have no idea. I've never played the piano. But when I looked at this room, I thought, oh, I'm going to write a book. I don't know why I thought that. But from that moment on, it wasn't, will I write a book? It was, what book is it I'm going to write?
Mm.
And it was probably 2 years until I started writing a book. But in that 2 years, I was constantly thinking, is this what I'm going to write about? Is this what I'm going to write about? It was like there was just no doubt that I would write a book. So anybody who's listening and thinks, oh, I'm not sure I could write a book, you can. You just have to decide that's what you're going to do.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Ain't a matter how, but when. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Made the magic happen indeed. That's right indeed. Now she's going to be writing novels, baby. That's right. That's right. That's right. It'll be an award-winning novel, too. That's right.
Well, my friends are all hoping it's going to be an audiobook and they can be part of it, and they're already seeing a TV series.
Yay! All right. That's what I'm talking about.
You heard it here first.
Well, that'll be wild. All right. Heck yeah. That'll be also, yay! Friendship on a new level. And now, granted, I haven't heard everything in the world, but that'll be a first, I think, to really, for four friends to really get in on a book project like that. It's like, yeah, let's do the audiobook together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, they are so up for it. And one of them produces audiobooks, so she's definitely up for it.
Oh, wow. So, no pressure on your side, huh?
The only problem is they all have American and Canadian accents, and I don't. Not sure how it's going to work.
Oh, it'll be perfect. Don't worry. Yeah. Diversity rocks usually. That's right. And besides, folks love UK accents.
They do. They do. So what could go wrong?
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Well, nothing to go wrong. Besides, it'll be diverse, keeps everything interesting.
Well, of course, I could read it in my hypnotherapy voice. Nobody would ever get to the end of it. They'd start reading it and go, this book is really good, but I just keep falling asleep. It would last forever.
Okay, then what would go wrong in that case is they'll fall asleep. And then out of nowhere, you sneak some random subconscious programming in there out of nowhere. It's like, hey, buy
my other books. Buy my other books.
Yes. That's right.
You've seen through my plan.
They just wake up and they got like 5 boxes of Amazon Prime boxes in front of their house. Like, what the heck did I order this time? Oh no.
Why did I order 50 copies of that book? What was I thinking?
It's like, well, I know I'm doing this Christmas.
Do you know, I say to my hypnotherapy clients, I say, when you listen to my recording, if you fall asleep, that's okay, because I keep talking. I say, you should ask my husband, goes to sleep, I keep talking. And at some level, it's going in. He finds himself in the garden mowing the lawn thinking, what am I doing out here?
So we found the other secrets to happy marriage: be a hypnotherapist.
I was thinking, you are happy, you are.
It's like, oh yeah. They say happy wife, happy life. It's like, oh, don't worry, she gonna be happy. She's happy all on her own. She's programming the husband.
So Dom, you're laughing, but you don't know what you're going to be doing after this interview.
Alrighty, all right. I guess the mind controls are working. I guess this time reverse. All right. Oh man. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and well, consider the topic's kind of an interesting one. But if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Well, do you know, I think my younger self did a pretty good job. I she did all the things that set me up to be who I am today. So I probably wouldn't change very much about what I did. Yeah, I mean, she built a really good career and had a wonderful son, kept in a wonderful marriage. Yeah, so there's really not much I would change about it. I'm trying to think if there's something crazy that I could say about 25-year-old me. But honestly, she just had a great life, and that life has prepared me for who I am today. So I'm pretty keen on her. I just want to give her a big old pat on the back, which is a pat I can do. I can just go. Uh, and just encourage her because she's doing great. She's doing great.
So, did you ever jump on your husband's back and say, hey, you have a pat on your back now?
I sometimes do it with friends. I stand behind them and put my arms around them and go, big old pat on the back. And it's one of my regular jokes. If you ever meet me, you could get a pat on the back.
I love it, because as soon as you said you would give her a pat on the back, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to ask this stupid question. I'm going to do it.
But I do it. You see pictures of me on Facebook giving people a pat on the back.
Oh, God, that's freaking gold. Well, for those who want that virtual pat in the back via all your books and what you do for helping wonderful humans around the globe, what's the best way to keep in touch with the pretty and powerful Pat?
So pretty easy, really. My website is patduckworth.com, and I'm Pat Duckworth on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me there. Yeah, just follow my name. If you Google me, there aren't so many Pat Duckworths. There was one who sadly died, which pushed me up the rankings a bit.
Yeah. R.I.P. to that person, but it's like, yay, me. You see the real Pat one now? Yes, indeed. Well, there you have it, folks. Check out the wonderful Pat Duckworth and all of her magical books. Buy this book for those wonderful folks in your life who may be going through that transitional period. Heck, maybe even colleagues or folks who work with the wonderful ladies going through that transitional period, and be on the lookout for a super special novel as well. Subscribe and keep up with all that she's doing. Heck, maybe even sign up for some hypnotherapy or grab some MP3s that she has for her wonderful clients as well. And you'll be definitely heading north indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Pat?
Just encouraging people, really. I know so many people who want to write a book and they get stuck, and keep going. Find some way to get that book out there. Don't think, who wants to read what I've got to write? Share your wisdom. Who are you to keep it to yourself? And just find a way to get that book out there. It's so easy now. It's not like back in the day when it cost a lot of money and you had to find a publisher, and you can just do it. So if you've got a book in you, and I think most people have, get it out there. Let's read your book.
Hey, 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 you super special, awesome human. Thanks a bunch for listening to this podcast episode. Hope you really enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to this show if you haven't already, because more greatness is coming your way. And if you're so inclined, be sure to share with at least 3 other people in your network so that way more folks can catch the fire that is on the Going North podcast. Keep winning at life and advance others to advance yourself.